Welcome back to a mini episode of the Authentic Man podcast. I'm your host, David Chambers, and I haven't done a mini episode for a little while, mainly because I had a baby. And I just, it wasn't as high a priority as some other things, like looking after said baby. Our little baby Bjorn's doing very well. If you're lucky, you may hear him in the background. He's not in the room. He's next door, but, babies like to cry. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about why as men we really struggle to feel love and connection in relationships and our dating lives, and what we can do about it. And I say all this as someone who had this, who really struggled to feel connected to the women that I dated, to feel loved. A perpetual question I'd have is do I love this person? Do I not? Am I just saying it because I think I should say it? Or I'd say I love you and be like, do I love them? I think cognitively I think I do, but I don't feel that sense of oh my God, this yearning to be and spend time with the person. So, here it is. Here's the thing. I knew lust. You may know lust as well. Knowing lust well, that desire to touch someone, be close to them, have sex with them and so forth. But often then in the moment, still feeling that lust, but there's deeper feelings of really feeling connected and yearning and love and desire for them as a person, not necessarily sexually or physically, I'll struggle with. So why are you struggling, right? I'm talking about myself here and also my clients, because this is something that's really common in the guys I work with. It's usually a secondary or tertiary issue that we work on. One of the first things is this fear of vulnerability. The chances are that you fear putting yourself into situations where you're vulnerable. And that isn't just emotionally vulnerable, right? That could be putting yourself in situations where you're dependent on someone, because that's a vulnerable position, or where someone knows a lot about you, or where someone, you're in need of help from people, right? These are all kind of situations of vulnerability. And you avoid these because ultimately you fear that if you're vulnerable, you're weak. Simple as that. We're taught often as men, especially, that if we're vulnerable, we're weak. Only weak people are vulnerable, right? And we internalize that, or someone said it to us, or we experienced it in some way. So there's the reason. And then there's this fear of being kind of emotionally open, right? And this is part of vulnerability, but it's also, this is deeper, because it's a fear of having to be in a situation of pain or disappointment, in particular pain, right? And in particular heartbreak. That's ultimately what it is. You never want to have your heart broken. And the best way, actually, it's not the best way. You think the best way to never have your heart broken is to never care and love for anyone. The only problem is that you still have your heart broken because you can't completely stop yourself from caring for people. So that's a big one. This avoidance of that pain of having the heart broken, often because of in the past you've had your heart broken, right? We've all had our heart broken. My first relationship, I had my heart absolutely broken. I always remember just sitting on the sofa when I was, 17, 18 years old, just eating ice cream. Or as I tell the story often, I remember, crying my eyes out when I was 30, I think I was, or 31. I would tell a lie. Sorry, I was 32 when I was in Bolivia and I just broke up with my then girlfriend, or when I had my heart broken again a few years later. These are painful experiences, and we want to avoid that pain. And we believe that if we just never be vulnerable, we can avoid that pain. I kind of touched on this before around dependence. It's you are feeling, right? You struggle to really feel love and connection because love and connection, you need to be some level of dependence. You need to be willing to depend on someone, in various ways. That could be from a household point of view. That could be from them helping you in certain ways. That could be from them supporting you in certain ways. There's this need for dependence, or to rely on somebody in some way, right? But there's somewhere in your mind, most likely, you have this idea that any level of dependence is bad and unsafe and can lead to hurt once again. Again, it's tied into the vulnerability. And the chances are that someone let you down at some point, right? In a past relationship, or a family member, or something deeper than that happened early in your life as well. What else is there, right? You find emotional closeness threatening. Yeah, so being emotionally close to someone, you might find yourself feeling quite scared and worried and fearful, overthinking, ruminating on what can go wrong. all these different things when you get close to someone, that sense of feeling like threatened, right? If you wouldn't get into the kind of nervous system point of view, is like you feel dysregulated, right? You feel often when you start finding yourself emotionally close to someone, you will feel like fight or flight, or you freeze and things like that. And actually that can be quite prolonged, and that can, then you kind of hear that, you feel that, and you're like, that must mean this relationship is wrong, or that must mean this person isn't right for me, which actually isn't correct. It's just that you feel that emotional closeness is threatening. It's nothing to do with the person, it's to do with the closeness. And if you can get past the fear of the closeness and the threatenedness of the closeness, then actually you can have lots of really flourishing relationships. I stand testament to this. Again, there's a part of you that wants to avoid having your heart broken, consciously or unconsciously. Sometimes I've worked with men who are completely unconscious that they're trying to avoid pain and hurt. But that's where they are, right? Another could be you're prioritizing your independence and your autonomy, right? You fear deep connection, right? Because you think any connection, especially a deep connection, relationship, love, will compromise your freedom and stop you from having control over your life. Right? And this will always lead to you avoiding emotional investment in relationships and people. And it will also be fault finding. You'll find faults and problems in them. You'll look at them and be like, I don't like their toes. I don't like their toenails. I don't know how they walk. I don't like that handbag. Because your brain is looking for reasons to cut yourself out and to run away from the situation and relationship. You probably also, if you're struggling to really feel that deep love and connection in your relationship and dating life, you probably also just struggle to trust people, right? There's some level where you're like, you believe or feel that you can't trust people. And you'll give me a whole long list of the people that betrayed you in some way, right? As evidence that you shouldn't trust people, right? But then you probably couldn't give me evidence of the people that have been perfectly trustworthy along the way. Or you probably wouldn't be able to give me a list of all the times that you were untrustworthy in situations. Because that's something I also point out to my clients as well. We often have this mental idea that for someone to be able to be trustworthy, they have to have been perfect. But we forget to look at ourselves and wonder whether we're even trustable. And also, do you even trust yourself? That's a bigger question that I often work with. Self-trust is something that I see a lot of men struggle with. There's a standard one here that's always the case if you're struggling to feel this love and this connection, is actually you probably struggle to identify and express and even manage your emotions. Right? Your way of managing emotions is probably just suppressing them and avoiding them. Like, let's not feel them. Let's not think about them. Let's intellectualize them. Let's get into my head about them, or just not notice them. Right? So you're just really disconnected from your feelings and emotions as a day-to-day experience. Right? And that's easy because we live in a world that doesn't reward men for feeling. Right? We punish men for feeling. We call them names. We bully them, all those sorts of things, right? And the reason why we also do that is, because it helps men be better workers. It helps them. It's easier to get a man to make ruthless decisions when he doesn't have to think about the feelings and emotions, tapping into his own compassion and empathy for the people it may affect, if he just sees people as numbers on a list. It's why in all the atrocities that happen across the world and have done in the past, they, the one thing they always do is dehumanize, whether that's soldiers, whether that is victims, we dehumanize them, give them different names. In the same way in corporate world, right? I worked in the corporate world, we call them clients, you don't call them people, you call them customers, you don't call them people. You don't think of them as people who have families and loved ones and so forth. And that's a way to disconnect us from our emotions and feelings. And that's the last one here in terms of why you're struggling, is you're most likely to be really in your head and not connected to your body, meaning that you don't feel the sensations of your emotions. And you're going to go, of course I'm in my body. I'm here, right? And when I do this one-to-one with people, I run them through a few different exercises to, get them to be able to just like tune into different parts of their body and notice things like heartbeat or how their stomach feels and so forth when we talk about certain subjects. And always, the men are like, wow, I never realized I was feeling so many emotions because I just wasn't aware of it. It's like, yeah, because you're what we often call as disembodied. You're not connected to the feelings and sensations in your body. So what can you do about it? The first thing I'm going to tell you what you need to do about it is on the 13th of August, right? Shameless plug. 13th of August, I'm running a workshop called Overcoming Avoidance for men, 4 proven techniques. Now you're thinking, oh, why do I need to come to this workshop? If you have listened to what I've said about the struggles, the chances are you're an avoidant man. If you're a man, listen to this. The chances are you're an avoidant man, right? Because these are hallmarks, what I've read out there is hallmarks of avoidance. You may not know you are, but you probably are, right? So on the 13th of August at 7:30 UK time, I'm running this workshop. It's a free workshop. It won't cost you a penny to come. The link is in the bio. And I'd love to have you there. That's it. I'm just offering this free workshop. I'm going to tell you a few things you can do yourself. One of the things is important is to learn about the root causes of your avoidance and your fears. Like, why do you fear being close? Was it that you had a father who was neglectful or would shout at you when you expressed any emotions? Or did you find yourself being belittled by a brother and sister when you cried? Or, you used to rely on a best friend and they let you down when you were, 7 years old? All those things are possible things, right? So just learn those things. Notice your patterns. This is like, you want to be like a hunter stalking deer, or a bushman, following a lion, is really paying attention to your patterns in terms of when do you start to feel that sense of fear of vulnerability and wanting to lean out from the relationship. Maybe your partner starts to share how they feel when you get uncomfortable. Notice the feelings and sensations and so forth, right? Because when you start to see the patterns, once you know what your patterns are and when things happen and when you get defensive or when you shut down or when you struggle to express how you feel or when you struggle to communicate, then you can start to put what I call a stopper. Is like you can start to make a different choice in those instances. Something you can do, right now, meditation and breath work. These will help you be more embodied. These will help slow down your mind, help you be more present. Presence, ultimately, if you attain a very deep sense of presence, these issues will all disappear. Yeah. Because they will, because you'll start to see them before they happen and you'll make different choices. You'll make more aware choices. And obviously not just meditation and breath work will make you the most aware person in the world, but they will help along with, the root cause stuff. And also this next point I'm going to say is journaling, especially in your negative beliefs. If you're listening to this and you want a little journal prompts around negative beliefs, I actually have some. Email me. My email address is also in the show notes. Email me and I'll send you a link to a journaling sequence of around negative beliefs. I do this often, like every day. I'm not doing it at the moment every day because I'm having to compress my morning routine due to baby. But there's a point early this year where I was like, I'm really looking to like hone in on these negative beliefs, and I did it every single day. It's a really powerful practice to do. Another thing is to actually practice feeling the feelings you avoid, especially fear and sadness, right? These are going to be ones that are really governing your life. Fear and sadness and disappointment and so forth is like actually sitting down and feeling it. When it comes up, give yourself a moment to actually feel it instead of trying to avoid it through getting into the mind or justifying or something like that. A simple one for those of you in relationship to help what you can do about this to help solve this is actually when you find yourself urging to like lean out of the relationship, whether that's something a relationship you started or even you just started dating someone, when you urge to like, oh, let's not message them, I don't want to seem too desperate, or actually no, I don't want to sit too close to them on the sofa, or I don't want to tell how I'm feeling. When you feel that, when you notice that pattern happening, lean in, do the thing you wouldn't normally do, right? Because this will really help you create instances of different outcomes and show you that your capacity is greater than you think it is. And then the last thing I recommend is getting out of your head daily. So this is some sort of non-linear movement. Embodiment practices are great. Breath work can be good. Yoga can be great. Stuff that's not linear. Linear is like gym work or like some sort of fitness routine where you're following this very linear thing. There's no smooth movements. Or even dance. Dance is great because it's like very non-linear. Where it's almost like intuitive dance is even better. It's started to really tune into the body. It will do you wonders. And you probably listen to it and go, this sounds like the most stupid, but actually it's probably the one that's the most powerful out of all the things I've suggested. And it's the easiest thing to do. Everyone can get access to music and everyone has the space for 5 to 10 minutes of dance in their life. even me, if I wanted that to be my practice in the morning, then that's what it would be. And I have a month-old baby to look after as well. So I've given you a lot there. Like I said, I've got a workshop coming up on the 13th of August, 7:30 p.m. UK time. It's going to be in the show notes. The link's in there. Come along. There's going to be a lot more. I'm going to go into things like why avoidance starts, what you can do about it, resolving conflict in relationship, like communication tools to avoid arguments and keep the peace. As well as there's something else I haven't got the list in front of me actually what's in there. But there's some stuff around defensiveness as well. How to solve your defensiveness, because defensiveness seems to be a big problem for the men I'm speaking to at the moment. So it's all in there. And the workshop's free. Nothing to lose. And you get to say hi to me. You know, if you're a long-time listener, you get to come say hi, which is always great to say hello to listeners. All right. I'm going to let you guys get on with your day. Me too. I've got a baby to look after. And I say ciao, ciao.